So it's another day, and there's yet more news out there, and we have to say that nobody knows this for sure. But all the usual accounts have now reported that when Raw does go to Netflix come January, and SmackDown is the only wrestling property on the USA Network in the United States of America, well, I suppose, to try and make up the difference, given what they used to do with Raw, WWE Friday Night SmackDown is going to 3 hours. Here is the deal. You would have seen the title, and I have your feedback too, which I'm going to get into in just 1 second. I don't want anything to be 3 hours. We talked about this before. I'm happy to talk about it again. It's not a shot at WWE, and in fact, in 2024, I think it's the best they've ever done 3-hour wrestling when it comes to Raw. I think Raw is a terrific show, but I still don't want it to be 3 hours. I don't think anything should be 180 minutes, and I'll go through every single thing that I like. Do I want to go to a 3-hour Metallica concert? No. They often do 2.5 hours, and I feel like I've got my fill. Do I want to go to a 3-hour Batman movie? No. Usually 2 hours or 2.5 is pretty damn perfect. I don't want to have sex for 3 hours. That's a different conversation for a different day. It just has nothing to do with pro wrestling. That's what I mean. Because when I posted this on my social media, cheap plug, Simon at 316, you get people going, "Oh, Simon, I can't believe you said that. You said the WWE hater." Even though I've said that Raw is probably the greatest television show right now, when it comes to pro wrestling, it doesn't matter what it is, even if it was me for 3 hours. And believe you me, nobody needs that. I just think eventually you have to sort of come up with a new way to format professional wrestling, which we don't need. And given that we do have the brand split, and I would suppose this is going to have to be changed at some point, which is maybe why I think tonight, as I'm recording this, we have the tag team match when Naomi or Bayley could leave SmackDown, and we're probably not going to have a draft till sort of April time. You are going to have to start shifting people back and forth in order for there to be depth on Friday nights, because at the moment, SmackDown just doesn't have that. Like, I suppose there are stars like AJ Styles that are able to come back, and there are other people on the outs that we haven't seen in a while that can absolutely have a new opportunity, and that's why 3 hours is great. I always want professional wrestlers to have the platform to be able to give it a chance. Sometimes they sink and sometimes they swim. You can't help that, I should say. And I would just rather the attempt was made, but I can only talk about it from a person that wants to be entertained. And look, I'm very blessed for my job and that I get to watch SmackDown regardless, but I look at it both ways. Let's say I stay up till midnight and I watch it. I'm not going to bed till 3 a.m. That's worse than 2 a.m. And let's say that I'm not doing my job and I wake up casually on a Saturday night, because of course we'll be able to watch SmackDown over here in the UK on Netflix. 3 hours on a Saturday morning, 2 hours, it's just so much more fun. It just is. That's it. It zips on by, and while maybe it could create a conversation where we start saying, "Oh, so-and-so hasn't been used, and what about this story, and oh my gosh, we need more time," I would rather be left wanting more than what will happen, at least I would say a handful of times, smacking yourself over the head, "I don't need any more wrestling today," because it also means it doesn't sound like Raw is going to be any less than 3 hours. It just doesn't. So let's say on average it goes 3 hours too. SmackDown is now 3 hours. In order just to keep up with WWE, you need to find 6 hours of entertainment time. That is a lot. That's like asking you to watch 2 pretty mammoth movies every single week. Now, if you're a nerd like me, you probably want to watch AEW. Even if you just want to focus on Dynamite, we're now up to 8 hours. Let's say it's a pay-per-view in the week. If you're lucky, that's 10 hours of content in a week when really we haven't even touched the surface. Maybe you want to watch Rampage. Maybe Rampage becomes Shockwave and you want to watch that. Maybe you want to watch Collision. Maybe you want to watch Ring of Honor. Maybe you want to watch TNA. Maybe you want to watch New Japan. And you could say, well, WWE doesn't have to worry about their companies. No, they don't. They only should and need to worry about themselves. But I am not WWE. I am an individual who looks at wrestling as something that they really enjoy spending their time on. I just don't need another hour, even when it comes to WWE, who are on fire right now and doing a good job. And that's the base of the argument. I don't think it needs to get deeper than that. If you're going, "Oh my gosh, 3 hours is the greatest thing ever," more power to you, man. I'm genuinely happy for you, because something is happening that's going to bring more joy into your life. And just to repeat myself, that is what entertainment should do. And I just, especially when I'm in America, because I'm kind of splitting my time between America and England at the moment. When I watch Raw Super Live, and I can't fast forward to the adverts like I can do here, you do get to that last hour on occasion. You're like, "Oh my gosh, there's 1 hour left to go." Even when there's a main event you want to see. And I don't like getting into analytics and stuff because I think it's boring, but you often do see a drop-off when it comes to the main event, even when you have a fire main event, because people are just tired of it. It's just what happens. Your brain eventually wants to go and do something else. You can't handle it. You're a human being and you haven't been built this way. So I did a vote earlier today and 1,500 people have responded. So it's a decent amount of people, but of course nowhere near the amount we would need to get a proper poll on this. But 29% of you said SmackDown going to 3 hours would be great. 71% of you said it would be bad. And I have to say that then I'm with you. And again, I understand this is a small sample size, but even with the small sample size, most people are saying, yeah, it's not really for me. Dave also sums up a point we just mentioned because he said he was really looking forward to waking up on Saturday mornings, putting Netflix on, watching SmackDown, but the extra hour pretty much writes off the whole morning. Very true. Toriyama is the GOAT, says not a fan, but watching a 3-hour show on a Friday night is much easier than watching one on Monday. Well, my friend, I think you're going to do both. Louis says nothing on TV should be 3 hours, especially a weekly running episode. The reason SmackDown is watchable is because it's 2 hours on a Friday, it's palatable. 3 hours is like finding time to watch Titanic every single week. My man, as far as I'm concerned, home run. But we also have Dejan that says the time will fly when the Great One graces our screens for extended segments that don't eat into other talents' time. I've now realized he's being facetious. They were his words, not mine. Whereas the Joker goes, just going to make more people hit that skip button, but at least they're still getting as much TV time to promote talent, and Raw will become smoother. I have faith in Triple H. I'm pretty sure that after we get out of 2024, I mean, Raw is going to be flexible in terms of times. It's on Netflix, but I would guess more often than not, it's probably going to be 3 hours. I mean, if SmackDown is... do the math. Riley says, I can kind of see both sides. I like it. At the moment, they don't need 3 hours. The roster is pretty weak, and they don't really have enough to fill 3. On the other side, it could serve as a bit of a springboard for younger or newer talents if they have more time to shine. I mean, that is true. But if people aren't as invested because their brains are tired, well, it may not work as well. Farhan says, one of the main reasons WWE Raw has been so great recently is Raw being 3 hours. It allows more time for talents to shine and tell great stories. Now, my point of this, we did a video a couple of days ago, is I actually think when it goes back down to 2 hours, you're going to notice, oh my gosh, we can do all of this. And it feels so much better because we have to keep the pace up. Now, keeping the pace up isn't always the best thing because sometimes you want things to breathe and you want the emotion, so it does land with you and you need that silence. But WWE for years was able to do this, so I don't understand why we wouldn't be able to go back to it now. And sure, some episodes will feel like an adrenaline shot to the face, but I think ultimately over a 12-month period, it just balances out better at 2 hours and 3. Chris says, I'm voting bad because it might end up more Bloodline time wasting. I don't agree with that. The Bloodline are great, but you're right, I don't need any more. And we'll end with Stu because it allows me to talk about something else. It says, give that entire 3rd hour to the Lucha Bros, which I wouldn't be against at all because, yes, that is the other news that broke last night. Apparently, the Lucha Brothers, Phoenix and Penta, have signed with WWE. They're going straight to the main roster. Their masks are already in mass production for merchandise, which makes all the sense in the world, and I'm very excited about this. It's the same with the rumors that Kevin Owens may be going, not maybe going, but his contract is coming up and the AEW would be very interested in him. Now, I want all wrestlers to go wherever is going to make them happiest, but as a fan, nothing is cooler than seeing the Lucha Brothers in a WWE environment or a Ricochet in an AEW environment. And if Kevin Owens went there, it's just so cool. There's a novelty to it, and it keeps both brands interesting. It allows the wrestlers to make more money, like I say, and I just enjoy it. I just like it. It makes no difference to me where they wrestle. I mean, Kevin Owens is somebody I'll actually follow, right? If I was just a WWE guy, I would follow Kevin Owens to AEW. That's how much I love him. But I know some people take this as loyalty, and they get all uppity about it, which is fine if that's the way you want to approach wrestling. But it's just cool because no matter how you saw the Lucha Brothers in AEW, this is a chance for them to hit reset. It's a chance for them to become bigger stars. It's a chance for them to have totally new characters, should they so wish. And you can get worries as well. I saw some people going, oh, they're just going to be stuck with the LWO. It could happen, but that would just be some evidence for anybody else that may be thinking about jumping ship to do the same. So Ricky Starks could go that way, and other people could go the other way. I just love it. I just enjoy it. It makes wrestling way more fun, and it gives us something to talk about. And I'll be honest with you, if I search my feelings, I would actually rather Kevin Owens stayed in WWE right now because there's a bunch of feuds that I'd still like to see, which is a massive tip of the cap to him because he's been there so long, and I still feel like he's got unfinished business. But, you know, there have been some chats about his relationship with CM Punk and obviously his much stronger relationship with the Young Bucks and things like that, so you don't know. And let's not forget, without AEW, Cody Rhodes isn't able to go back to WWE in the guise he is now, so there is definitely an upside to this, and I hope it doesn't go away. And I suppose if you are able to recruit more talent that way, maybe 3-hour SmackDown would get a little bit better, but I just look at it from a life point of view, and I can't remember who it was now, but we did read your name out. It's just 3 hours, it feels laborious. It feels like something you have to dedicate your time to as opposed to just sit down and enjoy. And wrestling is meant to be entertainment. It's meant to be enjoyable. It's not meant to be a slog, and we've kind of already touched upon this. I think there are very, very few things in this world. Why do you think a football game, a soccer game is 90 minutes, right? It's because it zooms on by, and that's how you're able to get the popularity. And an NFL game ain't that long. The reason it gets stretched out so much is adverts. That's the absolute truth of it. And some people say that's why baseball is not as popular as it once was, because those games can go super long, but I don't know enough about baseball, so I don't want to get into that. But listen, we asked on social media, I'm going to ask you now, drop me a line below and just let me know what you think. Maybe you love the idea of 3 hours, maybe you don't. I know there's other rumors that when AEW signed their brand new deal, maybe they kind of jiggle things around. So Dynamite's at 3 hours and we get rid of Rampage and Shockwave goes something else. I just think we're getting to the point of oversaturation. And usually in any kind of industry, when you kind of push that too far, eventually you start going in the other direction and we lose the boom and numbers start going where we don't want, and then you get a less good product. That's genuinely how I see it, and we've seen it happen before. But of course, we'll wait and see. And if WWE can prove me wrong, all the better. And who am I? Just some bald idiot. We also don't know if it's true, right? A lot of times these rumors do break and they come from a good source, but things change. Things are changing all of the time. But if somehow I was pulling the strings, I would say no. But again, drop me a comment down there. Let me know what you think about it. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, bam, which is me talking about more wrestling for you. And please do go to grillermind.com/Simon. Use code Simon to get 10% off. Or if you want some pre-workout, you can see it right now on the site. Until Sunday, after I've recorded this video, it is 30% off. You can also go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Simon Miller to get dumb shirts like this. If you want to train at home, make sure you sign up to a Go Fitness and use code Simon20 to get money off there. Patreon.com/Simon316. Already talked about Simon316 being your gateway to social media. Simon J. Miller on TikTok, Simon Miller on Cameo for personalized messages, and I think we have run the gambit there. More importantly, I want to get your feedback on all of this, so always interact with the video as much as possible, especially because YouTube loves that the most. And like I say, click that video that's on the screen. Otherwise, have lovely days, my friends. Have lovely weekends, and I'll see you soon.